Hey friends, what's going on there? A little meditative fingerstyle exercise, little riff for you to sink your teeth into today. So I made this 4-page PDF for you to get on my website, playsongnotes.com. It's lesson 370. So in this one, here's the deal. Basically, we're in a key of E, going between the E, a couple different voicings of A and a couple different voicings of B7 over here. The chord shapes aren't terribly difficult, but what I want to focus on in this lesson is give you some sort of melodic phrases that you can bake into these chords. What I'm talking about is you take this E. We're going to take this sort of 4-string version, the thinnest 4 strings, and we're going to use these notes on the thinnest strings, 2nd fret, 4th fret, in addition to the open thin string, right? And with those, we can sort of have fun just adding some expressive melodic phrasing to things, right? And even this by itself, you can sort of freely come up with your own finger-picking patterns, which I'm going to talk about in this lesson, and just have some fun. And we can switch to an A sus2 here, adding the same notes, right? And then we can sort of use those same notes in my second sequence, where I'm going to be basically going, taking this melody, right? And we can have fun. I'll show you different ways you can play that finger style, and using a simple pattern, or something more complicated, you can basically explore that phrase, that melodic phrase, right? So the whole point here is to get lost in these sequences I'm giving you. I'm going to give you the rough path, and you're allowed to sort of leave the path as you wish, but the path is always going to be there for you to come back to and just have some fun. So this 4-pager, again, page 1 gives you the sequences in a nutshell. On page 2, I'm going to talk about getting into creating your own finger-picking patterns, what that means, how to do that freely, how to do that with confidence and everything, whether you're just getting started with finger style or you're a bit more advanced. And then on pages 3 and 4, I'll show you some tabs, which are going to kind of lead you towards some of the stuff I showed you, but it'll also, again, leave some gaps in there for you to fill out. So let's get into this lesson, jump ahead if you know what you're looking for, and thanks to all of you who are supporting me through my Patreon page. It's tremendously appreciated, whether you're doing annually or monthly. All the PDFs I'm making, I trust, are leaving you in good shape. So let's get into it, and I'll see you all on the other side with this one. Let's go. All right, y'all, so let's dive into this first sequence I'm going to show you here. And I'm going to sort of use this as the launching point for this sort of entire exercise here. So fundamentally, the tab I'm showing you here, you have an E, thinnest 4 strings only, right? Left middle, left index on the 4th and 3rd strings, respectively. What this is going to do is leave our ring and pinky fingers free, and that's the sort of idea, is these are going to sort of play these highlighted melody notes. Now see in my tab here, now we have the regular E, then I'm adding my ring finger down on the 2nd fret and my pinky on the 4th fret, and back to the 2nd fret. And the whole idea here is if you just repeat those 4 notes for the E, right? This is sort of the melody sandbox we're going to be playing within. It's only 3 notes, 3 melody notes, but all these are notes you could play over an E chord. So you could basically strum all 4 of those E strings every time you're playing these notes. It's up to you. And before we get into showing you some ways to do that, the second of these riffs is going to be, all we're going to do here is, look, take this E, and you're just going to slide your index finger up to the 2nd fret, okay? So we're going to have open, 2nd, 2nd, open, open. This is an A sus2, okay? But the whole idea is, again, we're going to use our ring finger here and our pinky here. So same 3 melody notes, okay? So the idea, this full tab with the E and with the A. This is what you want to get comfortable with as your starting point, because these are sort of the building blocks. Now from here, you can have all kinds of fun finger style explorations, right? The simplest one you might do is basically we're going to have our thumb on the 4th string for the E chord, right? And for the A, it's going to be on the 5th string. But these 3 fingers are going to stay on the thinnest 3 strings. Okay, so the E, and for the A. Now from here, one simple pattern you could do just to sort of get into a groove with the finger style here is play the bass note of the chord, and then 3rd string, 2nd string, 1st string, okay? And just repeat that. So for the E, it might look like this. Back down, start it over. So for each of these melody notes, I'm sort of finger picking all the chords, all the strings, that is, twice. sus2, same deal. 5th string, 3rd string, 2nd string, 1st, right? Do this twice, then put your ring finger down, then put your pinky down, then back to the ring finger. Then you could repeat it at the E. Now this is just one simple pattern you could do, one simple fingerstyle pattern. And the whole idea of this exercise is to teach you to come up with your own. But if you want some guidance, check this out. On this page here, page 2 of my PDF, I have some of these fingerstyle just made up patterns, right? You can make your own up, but here are some simple ones you could do. So the idea is if you're only playing the thinnest 4 strings represented by the X's here, and you have your right thumb on that 4th string, index, middle, and ring, and these fingers are like assigned to those strings when you're playing those 4, a chord that uses the thinnest 4 strings. You could do any of these patterns. For example, pattern 1 is what I just showed you. Okay? Get comfortable with this with just the regular E, and when you have that, add the melody notes. Just sort of going up and down, right? Open high E string, 2nd fret high E string, 4th fret high E string, and back down to 2nd fret. Now, you could use a different pattern. Pattern 2 here is going from 4th string, 3rd string, play the 2nd and 1st string together, and then play the 3rd string by itself. And you're going to repeat that, so that would sound like this. Okay, and if we did the sort of E phrasing in sequence number 1, for the A. The only difference with the A is my thumb is going down to the 5th string because that's the A bass note. We want the A bass note when we're playing an A chord. Now you could do pattern 3 or 4. Pattern 3 is going from 4th string to 2nd string to 3rd string to 1st string. So, right, and that would sound like this. So it goes. Pattern 4 here is a 7-note pattern. It's going to sound like this. And notice how on that 6th pluck, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to sort of let that 6th pluck hang for a bit before I do the 3rd string by itself. So that would sound like this. Now these are just 4 of countless different patterns you could come up with. If you wanted to do Travis picking, right, where your thumb is sort of alternating here, you could do this. Let's see here. Now I don't have this pattern written down, but I'm using something I know, which is these Travis picking patterns. I'm kind of generally comfortable exploring with that and just generally practicing that. So if you can take a sequence, a finger picking sequence that you're kind of used to, just use these 2 chords and these sort of melody notes you're adding, you can just have a lot of fun. So that's kind of the first thing I want to show you there with sequence number 1. Now sequence number 2 is going to be a bit of a longer one, but it's using a lot of the same notes. So the pattern for sequence number 2, the melody that is, the melody is going to, if you hummed it, it'd be da 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 da, 2nd fret, open to A, right? Then we're going to go to this A major 7. This is going to be 4th, 5th, 6th frets on your 1st, 2nd, and 3rd string. But we use our thumb on the 5th string bass note. So again, sequence number 2. And you're just going to repeat those those again, here are some different things you could come up with, right? Now sort of let those A's hang for a bit. Do this freely. You don't need to necessarily be boxed in too much with any timing or anything. So that's what we have for sequence 2. Have fun with that one. This is admittedly borrowed from the Jimmy Buffett song 12-Volt Man, which I think is on one particular harbor. Really great song, and it's sort of using these melody notes, modifying a little bit here. But it is a fun way to sort of just take this melody and explore different finger picking stuff. Now for sequence number 2, if you are a bit feeling ambitious, you can add your pinky down here to play this A major 7. This is terribly difficult to do, and I really don't make a habit of doing it because this is a much easier one to get to, and I sort of will sometimes sneak my pinky in after the fact, like a person coming late to a party. So, now, sequence 3, it's going to sort of use a lot of what we showed in sequence 2. We're going to start on that A major 7. So that first line of tab, we're just playing the same thing twice, right? The A major 7 to the B7, you do it twice. And then the third time you do it, da, da, da. I let this hang for a bit. I let go of the chord. And I play these two notes, which are intentionally dissonant, right? Meaning you play those together, it sounds like really harsh, you know? But it sounds really good if you're going to resolve it to an E, right? So here's how I would play sequence 3 with some sort of expressive feeling, right? You can jump to sequence 1 or jump to sequence 2 and repeat the whole thing. So a lot of the last week, just to give you an idea of how I would be playing these tabs, you know, is I'm sitting on the couch, I'm watching sports or TV or just whatever, kind of, while my family's watching something, or just when I have the guitar around, you know, chilling. But basically, I know I want these chords, and I know I want these sort of melodic notes that I have highlighted in my PDF, right? But the thing I'll do is just experiment with different fingerstyle techniques, different fingerstyle patterns, different ways to play them that will sound good. And a lot of it is just sort of hunting around, you know, seeing, does this sound good? Does that sound good? What's a pattern I can use that works, right? Sometimes you get stuff that works, sometimes you don't, but you just kind of keep going over it. The things that work can almost be magnetic, right? They can sort of keep you around and you can sort of come back to it, right? And then the spots where you have a rough transition, you know, the next time you play it, you try something new, and eventually you kind of stumble into something here. So again, you could keep it simple. You could just do the bass note and then pluck like this, right? This is sequence 2. One's a little bit too just a little bit mechanical for me. What if I wanted to try some Travis picking? What would that sound like? Let's try this. A little bit rough there. Some things work, some things didn't. I find that different finger stick picking patterns you're going to do are going to lend themselves to different tempos. Sometimes you want to move through things quickly, right? Other times you might want to just linger and make your way through the melody very slow, right? so there we have it. I hope this is a helpful one for y'all. Again, listen to the Jimmy Buffett song 12-Volt Man to get a little bit of a hint for how this melody can sound in a slightly different context, but you kind of get the idea. There's a lot I'm borrowing there. But I had a lot of fun playing this one, and I wanted to share it with you. So thank you all very much for watching. Again, you can get the worksheet I got over at playsongnotes.com. One thing I didn't really show you in this lesson is there are some sort of tabbed out versions of each sequence with timing. If you want something a bit more right on the nose, this can be a helpful sort of aid for you to use. So get that at my website, playsongnotes.com. This is lesson 370. This is the first one I'm recording in my new studio here at my new house. So the walls are a bit sparse at the moment, but I'm excited to sort of add to them over time. But thanks all very much for watching. This has been David Potts, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care, and bye-bye.